Rabbits are cute, cuddly, easy to care for, great starter pets for children, and don't take up a lot of space in your home. Wait, what? Hi everyone, it's me, Budget Bunny, and I'm here to tell you today why rabbits and Easter don't mix. Since Easter coincides with spring, it's not really that far of a leap to therefore associate rabbits with Easter. When spring arrives, we think renewal and growth, we think new life, and most animals' breeding season is in the springtime. Think Bambi, guys. So it's not that far of a stretch that when you think spring, you think baby animals, and you think rabbits, because let's face it, they like to get it on. As the tradition of the Easter Bunny spread, it's really not that surprising that companies began to find ways that they could profit off it. While it's no doubt that chocolate and candy companies were the ones at the forefront of this new concept, nowadays we see Easter decorations in any department store, even the dollar store. So what's the downside to this? Pet shops realized that cute baby animals were a great way to capitalize on this time of year. With Easter just around the corner, pet shops are full of baby rabbits, guinea pigs, chicks, ducks, and other small animals that they market as pocket pets and great starter pets for children. And I've even seen larger pet shop companies trying to take full advantage by offering discounts on starter setups and sales on these small animals over the Easter weekend. So what's the problem with this? Well, the problem is that any animal being added to a household is a big decision. Research should be done ahead of time so that you're prepared for everything that that animal's life entails, including their well-being, health, and care. And I'm talking proper health and care, not the information that you're getting from the pet shop employee. So as someone who's lived with rabbits for over a decade, let's talk about what it's actually like to own a rabbit and care for them properly. So first off, rabbits are an 8 to 10 year commitment, and as veterinary care and knowledge grows and we understand these animals more and more, there's more that are living like 12, 13, 14 years even, which as a complete bunny lover is amazing. I hope that my bunnies are around that long. But as someone who's impulsively buying this animal, you are now committing a large amount of your life to this animal. And for those of you who are buying them as a starter pet for a child, you know, that is a large length of time. That is their whole childhood. They could be going off to college or university, you know, before this rabbit passes, and then what happens to it? So while I view a long lifespan as a positive thing, just please be aware in advance that this animal is going to be relying on you for around a decade of your life. As a general rule, rabbits do not like to be picked up. They do not like to be, you know, harshly cuddled and carried around under the arm. They have very delicate bone structures. They can easily break their back just by kicking their back legs out if you do pick them up and they're nervous. They'll try anything to squirm out of your arms and get back down to the ground. Now, this doesn't apply to every rabbit. Baby bunnies tend to be a little more cuddly until they reach sexual maturity, which is around like 3 to 4, 4 to 5 months of age, and that's usually when they start telling you, you know, they much rather prefer their feet on the ground. And the reason for that is because rabbits are prey animals. So when they're not on a flat surface, it can make them feel like they're being carried off by a predator. And it takes a lot of time working with that animal and socializing and taming that animal where they'll tolerate being picked up. I have 2 rabbits that are okay with being picked up. One will start nipping me though when, you know, he's had enough and he wants to go back on the ground. And my other 2 girls, while they trust me to pick them up, you can just feel their heart pounding the whole time. So it's very natural for children to want to carry things around with them and, you know, snuggle things and squish things. And I get it, I was a kid once, I have 2 nephews, but rabbits can't tolerate it and they won't tolerate it. Rabbits have extremely delicate digestive systems, and if you do not provide the proper diet to them, you can easily kill them. You can ruin their teeth, which cause abscesses, overgrown teeth where they can't eat and could starve to death. Their gut has to be at a perfect balance in order for everything to move efficiently. They always kind of need to be eating and pooping in order to keep everything in their body going, basically, to function. And so if you're not providing the proper diet, then it really can be detrimental to your rabbit. Just quickly, that means having unlimited Timothy hay in the cage all the time. A very small amount of pellets, and I'm talking like Oxbow, like pelleted formulas, not the seed mixes and stuff with all that junk food in it. Those are awful for rabbits. And also an unlimited amount of water and a cup of vegetables or forage, fresh forage every day. Rabbits require at least 3 to 5 hours of free-range floor time every single day. And as our knowledge of these animals increases, so does the amount of floor time that vets and rescues and shelters and the HRS are recommending, because they're understanding that these animals are so complex, and it's really more like living with a destructive cat. So the more floor time, the better. Originally, when I started owning rabbits, 2 hours a day was acceptable, and now they're talking more on the end of 30 hours or more a week of free-range floor time. So can you devote a large amount of space in your house for this animal to play that's rabbit-proofed and safe for them to play and to have fun in? A rabbit cannot be locked up in a cage all day long. It is not fair to that animal. It is cruel to them. And in that cage setting, there's no way for them to exhibit normal behaviors and basically be a bunny. So speaking of cages, let's talk about the one that the pet shop is trying to sell you. That cage is not big enough. There is no pet shop cage on the shelf geared towards a rabbit that is actually the suitable size for a rabbit. So where am I getting these standards from? So shelters and rescues and the House Rabbit Society all recommend the absolute smallest space that a rabbit should be in is an X-pen. So an X-pen is actually a dog exercise pen, and you can find those in like the dog or cat areas. They're the big kind of metallic-y looking wired pens. They have to allow your rabbit to hop at least 3 full times across the cage, be able to periscope, that's where rabbits sit up on their hind legs and look around. Additional little levels and hidey houses and things that they can jump on are also great just to keep those back legs nice and strong. But remember, this is just the housing for them to be in when they're not out running around for floor time. And again, the X-pen is kind of the minimum size, but a lot of people are just dedicating a room now to their rabbits or building larger pens like we did a few years ago, and then still supplementing with floor time. Again, the more space that you can give these animals, the better. Did you know that rabbits should be spayed or neutered? Yes, when they reach sexual maturity, they will most likely begin peeing on everything and marking their territory, humping, boxing, growling, becoming very territorial. They become nasty little creatures. And unfortunately, I get a lot of people who message me saying that their rabbit isn't spayed or neutered and they're hoping for outlets to get around these behaviors. But spaying and neutering is what's going to help you get rid of or alleviate these behaviors, at least. you know, when your rabbit is always hissing and growling and lunging at you, it really affects the bond that you're trying to work to create. And I can see why an unneutered or an unspayed rabbit could turn you off of wanting that animal. So do yourself a favor and find an exotic vet when you first bring that animal home, and you know, schedule a checkup and be prepared to spay or neuter your rabbit when the time comes. And speaking of spaying or neutering, rabbits are very social animals and they actually do best with a spayed or neutered companion. Most rabbit advocates now do not recommend that your rabbit lives its life by itself. As a social animal that in the wild lives in large groups, companionship is very important to them. There are a lot of things that we can't provide them, like grooming each other's ears and eyes and snuggling together all the time and seeking one another out for comfort when they're ill or when they're scared. Now, rabbits should not be together if they are not spayed and neutered. Typically speaking, a male and female pair is usually the easiest to bond, and obviously unless you want millions of babies, which I do not recommend, you will want to have those animals spayed and neutered in advance. So while spaying and neutering may help alleviate some of those hormonal, not so fun behaviors for your rabbits, you have to remember that rabbits' natural instinct is to burrow. In the wild, they live in large burrows underground, and they love to chew and dig and fling and toss things. And while this is fun to watch with things like their toys, it's not so nice to find your baseboards all chewed up, or if you left a power cord or something in the area your rabbit's playing with and it's all chewed to bits. Bunny proofing is very important for the health and safety of your rabbit, and you also have to decide how house proud you are, because they will wreck things, and that is just them acting out their natural behaviors. Rabbits are really intelligent. They need lots of mental stimulation. Like I previously said, a bonded friend is the best, as well as providing lots of toys and chews and fun places to hide and investigate. And these animals don't deserve to spend their life in a small cage being ignored. So like I said previously, please take the time to do your research. Be responsible about this decision. Make sure it's a family decision, and understand that while I am in no way saying that rabbits aren't great to be around children and for your child to grow up with a rabbit, it's not fair on the rabbit or the child to put full responsibility on them to care for such a complicated animal. Now, if you've done your research, if you're ready for a rabbit and you're ready to make the commitment, I urge you to wait about 4 to 6 weeks from now, because this is when the shelters and the rescues in your area are going to start getting these hormonal rabbits dumped upon them, are going to start getting these Easter bunnies that, you know, were so exciting for a few weeks. You know, that new and shiny thing is out, your kid loses interest, and you know, you never really wanted the rabbit was for them. What do you do, right? So I don't know how many ads I come across online that say, you know, bought for child has lost interest, we're rehoming this rabbit. And it's not fair. It's a living animal, and it's okay if you decide that that rabbit is not the right fit for your home, but I just ask you to please think about that before you bring it home. And if you're someone whose impulses got the better of you and you've already purchased your Easter bunny, I get it. I've been there. Our first rabbit, Rocky, was an Easter rabbit. I got him the weekend before Easter. They put him in my arms and I could not let him go. And from there I bought, you know, the too small cage, the crappy food, a few little toys that were like way overpriced and not that cool. And you know, I started by doing everything wrong, and that is the reason that Budget Bunny exists, because thankfully for that rabbit, I was willing to learn and educate myself and better his life in the pursuit of giving my animals the best life that I absolutely could. If you have recently purchased a rabbit on an impulse or have been given a rabbit and you're really not sure how to care for them properly, I really suggest checking out the rest of my channel. I have lots of health and care videos as well as just fun videos, and my website BudgetBunny.ca, there is a wealth of information on there. And if you're a parent, I really urge you to purchase a chocolate bunny or a stuffed bunny for Easter this year instead. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you guys later, and happy Easter. Bye! And just a reminder that rabbits are the third most abandoned animal at shelters, so please adopt, don't shop.